Anyway, going back. Eto na. Pag-usapan natin topic, guys. Pag-usapan natin topic natin today. Eto medyo ano lang to. Medyo nakalaki yung account ni Alan Sugka. Hinanap talaga ni Hibiki. By the way, masarap ang alak ng Hibiki. Gusto ko yan. Gusto ko yung Hibiki na yan. Anyway, going back. Kanina kasi may napanood ako na debate. Oh, asa na yung hamon mo suntukan? Ano nangyari? Nawala na, change topic na tong hayop na to. Change topic bigla. Ano? Change topic ka? Bigla? Anyway. Baliw. Going back. Napanood ko kasi itong debate kanina. Kilala niyo anak ni Panelo, di ba? Kilala niyo anak ni Panelo? Yung Salvador Panelo Jr. As sobrang proud niya. Pinangalan ulit siya sa sarili niya. Nag-junior pa talaga si Salvador Panelo. Oo, nag-junior pa. Diyos ko. Nagdebate sila kanina. Tungkol sa yung aresto kay Digong. Aresto kay Bato de la Rosa. Tapos mga kababayan, ano nangyari? Napahiya ng sobra to si Panelo. Durug. Durug si Saltik. Oo. Hindi siya umubra, guys. Oo. So, actually, kaya hindi ko naman ito masyadong binigyan ng emphasis. Kasi, gusto ko lang siya ipakita kasi nakakatuwa. Nakakatuwa. Nakakatuwa makita, mga kababayan, na yung typical na mga palusot ng mga DDS, unti-unting nadidistrong ka dahil sa palyado kasi talaga ang mga argumento ng DDS. Lalo-lalo na pagdating dito sa pag-aresto kay Bato de la Rosa. Ang pinag-usapan kasi dito, dapat daw bang i-execute yung warrant? Actually, mahaba to eh. Meron yung first part nito, maganda rin yung first part nito eh. Pahiya rin si Panelo eh. Yung first part nito, nasa tungkol sa jurisdiction ng ICC sa Pilipinas. Yun yung first part. Second part, tungkol naman dun sa pag-aresto kay Bato de la Rosa. So, gusto ko sanang ipakita pareho. Kaso ang haba eh. Oo, so ito na lang muna kasi ito yung mas relevant eh, yung kay Bato de la Rosa. Pinagdebatihan nila yan kung dapat daw bang i-execute yung warrant of arrest. Dapat daw bang i-execute yung warrant of arrest. Alam niyo mga kababayan, nung pinapanood ko to kanina, sabi ko, mismatch. May mismatch dito kasi bata pa si Salvador Panelo Jr. Tapos yung kalaban niya dean ng law school. Oo, FEU. Si Attorney Mel Santamaria. So medyo may mismatch. Iniisip ko nga sana ang magandang kadebate dito ni Mel Santamaria. Actually, yung pinakamagandang kadebate niya dito sana. Sana. Si Topacio. Kasi number one, maingay si Topacio. Pangalawa, galing-galingan si Topacio. So, mas maganda sana si Topacio. Pero I think, hindi ito pinatulan ni Topacio. Imposible hindi siya i-invite. Pero feeling ko hindi niya pinatulan to, si Mel Santamaria. Alam niya what he's getting into. Panoorin niyo mga kababayan kasi ang ganda ng pagka-distrong ka dito ni Mel Santamaria. Ito. Si Respicio, mas lalo yun. Si Respicio, baliw lang.
Turn to the constitutional powers of the Senate itself. Article 6, Section 11 grants lawmakers immunity from arrest only for offenses punishable by not more than 6 years imprisonment. Prison to correctional, if I'm not mistaken, no? Crimes against humanity under RA 9851, on the other hand, carry penalties far beyond that threshold. Still, the Senate placed Senator De La Rosa under this concept, which up to now I do not understand, concept of protective custody after ICC-linked arrest efforts inside the chamber.
This raises difficult constitutional questions. Is protective custody a valid exercise of institutional authority, or an unconstitutional shield against lawful arrest. Dean Mel, does parliamentary privilege have any constitutional application here at all, given the gravity of the alleged offense and the penalties attached to crimes against humanity?
Absolutely none. This parliamentary privilege is totally without basis in law, without basis in
Hindi
the
kasi batas yun eh.
Constitution. Kung sasabihin natin, this is traditional, no? But you cannot weaponize tradition and make that tradition as the means to give a person who just committed a crime against humanity a sanctuary. Hindi pa pwede yun. Hindi mo pwedeng gawing hideout ang ating gusaling ng Senado on the basis of tradition. Kaya absurd talaga yon. There is none. It is that building is for public service, not for Senator Bato. Di ba? Hindi pwedeng maging ganun eh. Kahit ano tingin mo doon, there is absolutely no basis.
Well, thank you very much, Dean. Kagaya ng sinabi mo, yung building na yun, tinayo naman para sa mga public property yun eh. So it's not supposed to protect anyone. Anyway, that's another topic altogether. Now, Attorney Paulo, where does the Senate derive the power to place one of its members under protective custodies? And if authorities are serving a warrant, can preventing access amount to what you call obstruction of justice?
Right. No, I agree with Dean Mel that they're not supposed to do that, or they don't have the power to do that under normal circumstances. But again, as I said earlier, this is not normal circumstances. This is a situation where, for the first time ever, an ICC warrant was issued, one first against a former president and now a sitting senator, and we're still lacking guidance or waiting for guidance from the Supreme Court. So, as I said, I feel like they were forced into this hand, and they're not asking, they're not protecting Bato from facing accountability. They're simply asking for Bato, Senator Bato, to be given his legal remedies. As the Senate Resolution number 44 said, reasonable time prior to surrender to avail of and exhaust his legal remedies before Philippine courts, which is recognized by Article 59 of the Rome Statute anyway. So for me, it's a principled stand. It's justified, but normally, wala talagang kapangyarihan na ganyan. As far as the obstruction of justice is concerned, I saw the press conference of Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano this afternoon, and he said that despite promises from the NBI, the actual ICC warrant, as transmitted to the PCTC, hasn't been presented to the Senate. So as far as they're concerned, while their position is we will only recognize a local warrant, even the ICC warrant itself hasn't been presented. So their position is, and I agree with them, that there's no obstruction of justice by trying to prevent the service of this warrant or the arrest of Senator Bato.
Yan, okay. So, sinasabi dito ng anak ni Panelo, basically, na yung ICC warrant ay walang silbi. It's a scrap of paper na hindi dapat pakinggan. At kailangan pang, yung ICC warrant na yon should go through our local courts. Actually, yun yung pinag-usapan dun sa topic bago ito. Na, sopla pa rin si Panelo actually, kung tutuusin. Sopla pa rin siya dun. Ito ngayon mga kababayan. Ito ngayon yung sagot ni Dean Mel Santamaria.
Okay, so since we finished both of your statements here, we now will open this again for another discussion. But I'd like to throw in the views that were also exclaimed or expressed publicly. Like for example, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said that the ICC warrant of arrest that Senator Trillanes or former Senator Trillanes was holding in the Senate is an unenforceable document. And in the past, in last year's arrest of former President Duterte, when there was a Senate hearing afterwards that was conducted, then Justice Secretary Boying Remulla said that the government still does not recognize ICC jurisdiction and that their basis for the arrest was the Interpol red notice and our obligations to the Interpol. So, given that stand of the government based on their statements, on their public statements, it appears that in this case, kaya hindi napigilan si Senator Bato de la Rosa na umalis from the Senate or kaya siya pinotektahan din ng Senate is because as far as they're concerned, there was no valid warrant for them to allow Senator De La Rosa to be arrested. So, yung question ko, for example, yun yung mga naging statements ng government at ang posisyon nila. Dean Mel, kung meron namang RA 9851 or even if we can use the customary law as our basis to say na enforce yun na yung warrant na yun, bakit hindi na lang maging clear ang ating gobyerno about that?
The government was very clear. Kung napakinggan natin si DF, Department of Justice, Polo Martinez kanina umaga, he was saying, we've all along said that Republic Act 9851 was our basis. So saan nyo nakukuha yung walang position ng government?
Correct. Sinabi ng DOJ yan. Malinaw ang posisyon ng government, RA 9851. Maski unong inireso si Digong, yun din ang posisyon ng government, RA 9851. Wala akong iba. Nag-iimbento ng kwento tong si... Kilala ko kasi si Karen. Attorney Karen naman kasi, ba't kasi nag-DDS? Ba't kasi nag-DDS sa Attorney Karen? Kilala ko to eh. Mabait naman yun si Attorney Karen eh. Nag-DDS lang. Anyway. Yun naman talaga yung basis eh. Wala namang sinabi na tawag dito na ibang panghuhugutan ng jurisdiction maliban doon sa RA 9851. Yun lang talaga. Wala namang iba. Attorney Karen, ba't ka kasi nag-DDS? Dapat di ka nag-DDS eh.
Sinabi yan kanina, expressing just today, May 14, 2026, Polo Martinez categorically stated our position all along was Republic Act 9851. And he is speaking, and he is with the Department of Justice. And we should give deference and great weight to a spokesperson of the Department of Justice. Kung nagkatalabuan man tayo, doon tayo papaling. Diba? So wala, there is no problem. There is no problem. Kaya I cannot see where that's coming. Hindi ko makita kung saan nanggagaling yan dahil meron naman categorical stand ang ating gobyerno.
Ako, sir, speaking of DOJ spokespersons, actually, si DOJ spokesperson, Nico Clavano, at that time, nung inaresto si Pangulong Duterte, ang sabi niya, ang basis nila for arresting the former president
Interpol.
is Article 59 of the Rome Statute.
Ay,
at
no.
ang DOJ daw ang competent judicial authority. Yun ang position nila nung bago namin i-file yung petition for habeas corpus. Pagka-file namin, biglang nagbago ng tema, RA 9851 na. So that's number one. Number two, tingin ko kasi
No. Mali. Sinabi yon ni Polo Mart ni attorney yung spokesperson nga ni Clavano, attorney Mico Clavano. Sinabi yon kasi ang pinapalabas ng mga DDS na applicable yung RA 9851. Pinapaliwanag ni attorney Mico Clavano noon, nung DOJ secretary, nung DOJ USEC pa siya at spokesperson ng DOJ, pinapaliwanag niya na kung susundin yung Article 59 ng ICC, meron pa rin kapangyarihan ng DOJ kasi sila yung enforcing authority. Yun yung pinapaliwanag niya noon. Minisquote nito ni Panelo. Alam niyo mga kababayan, mahirap po kasi na na tawag dito, na magsalita yung mga taong ganyan na hindi naman nila araw-araw minomonitor ang balita. Kaming mga vloggers, tsaka mga political na, like ako, araw-araw ko inoobserbahan ng balita. Minuto, oras-oras, nakabantay ako sa balita. So naaalala namin lahat yan. O nakikita namin yung buong anggulo niyan. So, mali yung sinasabi ni Panelo. Kaya nagsalita ng gano'n ng DOJ last year is because binabato nga ng mga Duterte allies yung Article 59. Pero hindi yun ang position nila. Ang position nila is yung RA 9851. From the get-go, it has been that.
dito gustong i-recognize ng Marcos government ang ICC pero hindi sila maka-turn back because nung magkakampi pa sila ni Duterte, ang pronouncements nila clear. Hindi namin rini-recognize yung ICC, hindi kami makikipagtulungan dyan.
Relevant ba yun sa kwentuhan? Yung ally before? Obviously, wala nang ganyan. It's no longer relevant. Obviously, it's no longer relevant. So, di ko alam, ba't binring up pa niya yan?
So biglang napasok yung Interpol. They said they will cooperate because of our obligations to the Interpol. But what did we find out during this petition for habeas corpus? What we found out was that the arrest warrant from the ICC was emailed from an ICC email address to Interpol Manila. Now, Interpol Manila, sino ba yan? That's the PCTC. In other words, mga empleyado rin yan ng Pilipinas. Hindi yan Interpol officials. It was just a request from an ICC email address to Interpol Manila, composed of Philippine officials. So even their excuse of complying with Interpol obligations is not true. It's a farce. Hindi yan totoo.
Ang huling punto dyan, authentic ba yung dokumento? Kasi kahit kahit saan manggaling-galing yan, kahit anong pumasa-pasa dyan, basta't ang hinahawak mo, authentic na document, it solves everything.
But I have a question. Sino ba dapat ang nag-enforce ng ICC arrest warrant? Because
Attorney Karen, moderator ka, di ba? Ba't ka nakikidebate dyan? Moderator ka, Attorney Karen. Kakilala pa naman tayo. Alam niyo mga kababayan, ito si Attorney Karen, mabait yan. Mabait talaga yan. Legit, no joke. Mabuting tao yan. Nag-DDS lang talaga, kaya naging ganyan yan. Tuloy natin.
The visible figure last Monday was former Senator Trillanes, and that's why on the plenary of Senate, people were asking, is he already the process server for the ICC? But in general, sino ba? Meron ba dapat representative from ICC na
In
dumadating?
this particular case, it's the Department of Justice. Remember, the NBI is under the Department
DOJ,
of Justice.
right.
Kaya yung puntong yan, wala nang problema yan, basta't ma-serve yan. No? So it's a government entity, that is the representative of the government, and it is so useless for anybody to even, create confusion on that. Basta't DOJ, NBI, sinerve niya, gobyerno yan, ayos na yan.
Okay, Attorney Paulo.
Who should serve it? For me, it should be somebody from the government, number one. But ang mas importante dyan is dalhin mo sa korte. Diba? Actually, yung dadalhin sa korte, baka
na, yan. Ito na
dapat
yung
nga
exciting
mauna
part.
muna yung arrest warrant from a local court.
Ito na yung
Bago
exciting
mo
part.
dadalhin sa korte, tapos doon mo i-discuss ngayon yung validity ng ICC warrant. Yun ang tingin namin. Because for us, Dean Mela said RA 9851, customary international law, pero for us, of course, Constitution remains supreme in the Philippines.
Teka muna, tingnan natin ang konstitusyon.
Ayan na.
Ang sinasabi mo ba yung Bill of Rights? Yes. Ang sinasabi mo ba na walang warrant of arrest, no warrant of arrest will issue unless by a
Competent
by
court.
a judge. Yes, di ba? Qualified ba yung judge? Hindi naman eh. We cannot distinguish what is not distinguished, di ba? Nakalagay doon, judge.
So you're saying local judge or foreign judge?
Of course, because ang gumawa ng, tanda natin, ang gumawa ng 2009, Republic Act 9851, hindi mga pangkaraniwang senator to. Sila Miriam Defensor Santiago to. Sila Juan Ponce Enrile to. Sila
Right.
Sagisag to. I could not even pretend that I am better than they. Ibig sabihin ko, nakita na nila yan. Kaya ginawa nilang tulayan, Republic Act 9851, dyan sa ating, sa crime against humanity, so that nakita na nila, kung may judge na nag-decide na may probable cause, okay na rin dito. You cannot interpret the Constitution in a vacuum. You must interpret the Constitution in the light of what is happening today. Otherwise, parang ang Constitution natin, a statue in a museum. Walang hindi gumagalaw.
Well, sir, with all due respect, diba, judicial power is vested in the Supreme Court and such lower courts that may be created by law. Obviously, ICC is not one of those. Diba? And,
Oh, no, I disagree. Because nga, that Republic Act 9851, precisely, we recognize an international
hindi po,
tribunal.
well, kasi po, tiga mo, actually,
Ang hirap ba ipag-debate sa prop, guys? Wag na gagawin yan. Kung meron tayo mga kasama dito ngayon na katulad ko na naglo-law school, wag kayo makikipag-debate sa professor nyo. Kahit ano mangyari. Basta kung sabihin niya, yun na yun, tama na yun. Kahit sa tingin mo mali, wag kang kasi ikaw mapapahiya at the end of the day. Kasi syempre, mas marami siyang alam. Mas kaya niyang paikutin yan kaysa sa'yo. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, mismatch to eh. Sabi ko sa inyo, mismatch to. Dapat, ang nilagay nila dito, yung medyo mas magaling magsinungaling tulad nito, Pasyo. Diba?
tinignan po din namin yung basihan ng pag-issue ng warrant of arrest. Para lang i-compare sa constitutional requirements natin, yung mga ginamit na basihan to issue the warrant of arrest and to deny the interim relief request were Rappler articles, newspaper articles, hearsay evidence. So, sa atin po, hindi po papasayan.
Teka muna, nabasa mo na ba yung Estrada versus Ombudsman? Sinabi ng Korte Suprema in the level of preliminary investigation, hearsay is acceptable.
Yes, pero dapat corroborated, Your Honor.
Tingnan natin ang ginawa ng ICC. Substantive evidence ang level nila. Substantive evidence, mas mataas sa probable cause. So it was a finding of the judges there, tatlo pang West.
Pero hindi po Pilipino. Yun ang pinaka-importante doon.
Kasi ang ating konstitusyon, sinasabi, judge lang, pwedeng Pilipino, pwedeng hindi. At precisely because yung Republic Act 9851, nire-recognize natin ang
International
jurisdiction ng International Tribunal.
Correct.
Okay, talagang
disagree.
kulang ang request ko dito magka-part 2. Kasi uubusan na tayo ng
Diba? Galing eh. Actually, mga kababayan, mas magandang suggestion to, Danny. No? Si Torion kaya. Mas maganda si Torion. Kaso party siya dun sa sa issue. Siya yung abogado eh. So, medyo mahihirapan siya kapag siya. Pero, di ba? Ayun sa kaka-debate lang daw ni May Gemini kanina sa isang DDS about Pangilinan versus Cayetano, di ba? Yun nga kasi mga kababayan, actually yung first part nito, tungkol naman yung sa jurisdiction ng ICC sa Pilipinas. Kaso naisip ko, masyadong, we have discussed that ad nauseam. So, di ba, dito lang ako nag-focus sa arresto ni Bato at saka sa validity ng warrant. Kasi, alam nyo mga kababayan, kahit saan mo paikot-ikutin tong kaso na to, sa totoo lang, kahit saan mo paikot-ikutin tong nangyari na to kay Bato de la Rosa, unless, ito tayo sa totoong buhay. Sa totoong buhay, mga kababayan, hanggat hindi nagsasalita ang Korte Suprema, hindi natin alam kung may jurisdiction ba ang warrant na yan ng ICC. Pero, although it is obiter dictum, yun ang palusot ng mga DDS yan. Obiter dictum lang naman yan. Hindi naman yan yung issue of the case, etc., etc. Well, nonetheless, it is still mentioned in the Supreme Court decision that the ICC has residual jurisdiction in the Philippines. At dapat ang Pilipinas ay nagko-cooperate sa ICC. Ayun nga yung nakakatawa dun eh. Alam niyo yung nakakatawa dun sa decision na yun ng Cayetano versus Pangilinan versus Cayetano. Nanalo dun ang Cayetano. Sa totoo lang, nanalo doon ang Cayetano. Pinanalo ng Korte Suprema ang Cayetano doon sa kaso na yun. Pero, kahit nanalo ang Cayetano, naglagay doon ang ponente, si Justice Leonen, naglagay siya doon ng wisdom of the court. Oo. Naglagay siya doon ng wisdom of the court na sinang-ayunan ng ibang mga justices. Sinang-ayunan ng ibang justices eh. Buti sana kung hindi sinang-ayunan eh. Kaso sinang-ayunan ng mga justices. Hindi lang naman si Leonen na nagdidesisyon. 15 silang west doon. Sa Supreme Court. So bakit hindi nila ni one lang dissenting opinion doon sa sinabing yun ni Justice Leonen? Wala nag-dissent. This already gives you a clue sa kung saan papunta yung TRO. Yung kung saan pupunta yung TRO ni Bato de la Rosa. Ano pa yung isang clue? Tinanggap yung petition. 1 taon na, hindi pa rin nililitis. 1 taon na, hindi pa rin nililitis. Ngayon, nagkaroon na ng totoong warrant. Hindi nag-issue ng TRO. Bakit? It should give you a hint na pinag-iisipan ng Korte Suprema kung talagang merong most likely ang iniisip ng Korte Suprema may jurisdiction ng ICC sa Pilipinas. If at the very least residual jurisdiction. So I think that they're pinag-uusapan na lang nila to sa press kasi gusto nilang i-pressure ang Supreme Court to decide sa sa panig nila. Pero ewan ko lang, siguro iba yung magpapa-pressure sa Korte Suprema. Hindi yun. Hindi yun ang magpapa-pressure sa Korte Suprema, mga kababayan. Iba promise. Iba talaga. Hindi yun ang magpapa-pressure sa Supreme Court. Pag naman natin pag-usapan, gusto ko pa maging abogado. baka hindi ako maging abogado pag nagsalita ako. Anyway. So, ayun. Medyo tagilid talaga yung DDS dito. Tagilid sila. But we don't know. Baka mamaya, i-surprise na naman tayo ng Supreme Court. Kasi last time sa impeachment, alam natin, tagilid sila. Tagilid ang mga DDS, tagilid si Sara Duterte. Pero, di ba? We know what happened. So, hintayin na lang natin kung ano mangyayari sa decision ng Korte Suprema. I think it will come out sometime next week. Kasi urgent petition yan eh. So, kapag naglabas na ng TRO, yun na yun.